When it comes to video games, buying a game and adding it to your collection is a great feeling. Having that physical copy sitting on your shelf is a way better feeling than just downloading some ROMs on an emulator. But what if I told you video game collecting can get even better? Instead of buying whatever copy you come across, you can start obsessing over minuscule packaging and art details that have no difference to the actual gameplay itself. I know a lot of you watching probably prefer to buy Black Label games instead of greatest hits. That's a very common manufacturing variant that exists for many games. But that is truly the tip of the iceberg. As a very quick example, Mario Bros 3, the Left Bros, the first print copy of the game, this used to be a pretty obscure variant like 5 to 10 years ago. These days it's pretty well known though, unless you don't know about Left Bros and Right Bros for Mario 3, where the word bros is formatted on the left for first prints and it was moved to the right for every later print. If you didn't already know that, bonus variant information for you. But those are the type of variants we're going to get into today. Game-specific, very niche differences that have really no bearing on the actual gameplay, but it's super fun to collect, and look out for these once you know they exist. So say thank you to every single patron who helps support the channel, as well as the YouTube members. I can't do this without you guys. Hit the like button, and let's talk about some variants that you absolutely should know about for video game collecting. And where better to start than the wonderful world of NES, where there are almost literally an endless amount of variants that exist, especially if you start getting into manufacturing variants. We could talk about how many screws are holding the game together, we can talk about Rev A on the box, hang tabs, but for this video, I'm gonna keep it towards game-specific variants, and the first one here is coming from one of Capcom's flagship franchises, Mega Man. The North American release of Mega Man came in late 1987, and if we look at the box art here, there is a lot to unpack. I could probably make an entire video essay just dissecting the choices that went into this design. Like, why does Mega Man have a realistic gun in his hand? Is this guy a robot? Why is he standing like this? Why does he look like this? What are these? Why does the Japanese box look completely different and actually like Mega Man? So it's not like North America didn't have some kind of reference. Like, whoever designed this should have known what Mega Man is already. But we are going to go ahead and ignore all of that, because what we actually care about is on the back of the box. So with the very first prints of Mega Man, there is a pretty major typo that made its way all the way past Nintendo, all the way past Capcom, and straight into production. Twice on the back of the box, when describing the antagonist of the series, which, if you are familiar with Mega Man, Dr. Wily is the bad guy, Dr. Right is the good guy, or Dr. Light. They kind of lost that in translation, but that's a topic for a different video. There's Dr. Wily and Dr. Right. On the back of the first print boxes, though, twice in two different spots, they refer to Dr. Wily as Dr. Right. Once up here near the top of the box, and again almost right in the center of the back. What's really funny is that it's supposed to say Dr. Wily, and they do actually also correctly mention him up here. So for whatever reason, they just mixed them up as they kept writing the description. This box error is described as the Dr. Right first print, the Dr. Right misprint, and it was quickly corrected on every other print of the game. Finding boxes with this error are quite expensive now, where even near mint CIBs can bring in well over $1,000. And factory sealed copies are basically up there with the grails of NES collecting, or at least of factory sealed NES collecting, with the last factory sealed first print selling for $80,000 September of this year. And I am also going to take this opportunity to show you guys that I do own a first print myself. Bang! There it is. Separate Societies of Dr. Right. There's no one in my life who cares about this, so I'm going to take this opportunity. Just say you're proud of me or something. But let's get away from NES. A lot of you guys watching this might not even collect games for the NES. I mean, heck, it's getting up there. It's like 40 years old now. So let's jump all the way to the original PlayStation, and a series that at least some of you have to have played. I mean, they released 3 games for the PlayStation 1 alone. I'm talking about the now forgotten series of Siphon Filter. And I actually did buy Siphon Filter 2 way back when. I think it was my own money. I might have got it for a birthday or a Christmas, but I think I spent my own money on it. 20 hard-earned Canadian dollars. And I bought the game and I was super excited to play it, and I think I put it in my console once. Like, I didn't play Siphon Filter 2. I have no idea what the series is about. Clearly, the advertising was good or something. They must have had commercials, because I wanted the game. Then I never played it. So if you have actually played the Siphon Filter series, fill me in. Did I miss out, or is it something that I'm better off not having played? But ignore all of that, because the one that we actually care about today is Siphon Filter 3, which has a definitive first print copy that was actually recalled due to real world events and reissued with completely different art, completely different design. So the original North American cover for Siphon Filter 3 featured the main characters in a pretty dynamic action shot over a faded American flag backdrop. There appears to be some kind of gas attack taking place, but that is not slowing down our heroes. And honestly, this is a very fitting image for a series about federal agents fighting global terrorism. Unfortunately for Sony, the timing of this release really couldn't have been much worse. Siphon Filter 3 was scheduled for release on September 25th, 2001, only 2 weeks after the devastating attacks of 9/11. In the wake of the attacks, sensitivity towards anything depicting America, the flag, terrorism, all of that had huge heightened sensitivity around it. Though Sony wouldn't make any changes to the actual game itself, they did make the decision to recall the game and completely change the art design. The dynamic action shot with the US flag backdrop was completely changed to a much more neutral and frankly pretty boring design, featuring the main characters with darkened silhouette. On the back of the case, real-world references such as United States Federal Bureau of Investigation were changed to more generic names. This is the version of the game that you are all likely familiar with. This is the one that went to retail stores. This is the one that you would have been able to purchase. And though the original version was recalled and never officially released, because this recall happened so close to the actual release of the game, review copies, promo copies, and even some retail copies that weren't sent back did leak their way out into the public. Finding these recalled copies now is exceedingly rare. These are big collector games, especially for PS1 collectors. Even used copies of just the disc alone are selling for hundreds of dollars now, and factory sealed copies are often in the thousands. This is the coolest one for me on this list, and I do hope to actually buy one eventually. I'm holding out hope that I'm gonna get a good price on it at some point. It hasn't happened yet in like 13 years of knowing it exists, but you know, hey, I'm never giving up the hunt, you guys. And speaking about the hunt and the chase, once I tell you about this next variant, you are going to look at every single copy of this game that you see from now until the day you stop collecting, and you probably won't ever see it. Which is nuts to say because we're about to talk about one of the best-selling PS2 games of all time in Final Fantasy X. So Final Fantasy X was originally released in North America in 2001. At this time, Square was still referred to as Squaresoft as they hadn't yet done their merger with Enix. You can easily see here on greatest hits copies of the game, it says Square Enix down in the corner. On normal black label copies, it'll say Squaresoft. The Square and Enix merger took place in April 2003. And the greatest hits version of Final Fantasy X was released in September of the same year. This leaves a very small window here between April and November 2003, where Square Enix actually decided to do a reprint of black label copies of the game. And what's more interesting is that on these Square Enix reprints, the artwork had already been shifted to accommodate the greatest hits banner. On the left is the Square Enix print, and on the right is the normal Squaresoft print. This makes it even more bizarre that they would print some of these as black label when they were already clearly ready for greatest hits. And believe me when I say this, these Square Enix black label copies are rare. Learning about this variant truly is a blessing and a curse because, like I said, you are now going to look at every black label copy of Final Fantasy X you see, and you're going to check if it's a Square Enix copy. And I'm telling you guys, you're probably never going to see one, which is nuts. And on eBay, if someone actually knows what this is, you can expect to pay hundreds of dollars for this variant. And factory sealed copies have recently sold as high as $4,500 for the Square Enix variant. It's rare, it's valuable. I wish you all luck in finding it because I haven't been able to in like 10 years of searching. I've looked at every black label copy on eBay or whatever. Haven't been able to see one. Hopefully you have better luck than I do. Now, thankfully, the next one on the list here isn't nearly as expensive and isn't nearly as rare. I have to give you something you can actually find, right? You can probably hunt for this one, and you'll probably find it. We are now shifting over to PlayStation 3, and we're going to talk about the wonderful release of Little Big Planet, which, yup, you guessed it, there is a very important variant, and a lot like Siphon Filter, this game was actually recalled before its official release. Little Big Planet was set to hit North American shelves on October 21st, 2008. The game was fully produced, shipped to retailers, and ready to sell. But it was discovered that within the game's soundtrack, the song Tafa Niang, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, contained verses from the Quran. I do have the song playing playing right now in the background, just so you know. And while these lines in the song weren't inherently offensive in any way, Sony did worry that any kind of remixing or manipulating of the data could lead to problems down the line. So they made the decision to recall all copies of the game and reissue it with the verses removed. But of course, given how close it was to release, and just like Siphon Filter, review copies were out, promo copies were out, and a lot of the retail copies in this case didn't even get sent back. They just went straight to retail. They were just sold by the stores. And luckily for us, we are able to identify first prints of Little Big Planet without having to actually put the disc in a PS3. The easiest and most obvious way, and if you're factory sealed collecting, this is literally the only way to differentiate them, is to look at the UPC on the back of the case. Yup, we are now looking for different UPC numbers. Isn't variant collecting great? On the first print UPC, you're going to find this long string here, but the only numbers that actually matter are 81482, the back half of the UPC. On the reprint, the string of numbers looks quite similar, but the last 5 digits are 81992. Other small changes include the removal of the DTS sound logo, and they also removed the small notice about online interactions. There are also very minor details that were pressed into the disc that would let you know if you have the revision or not, but if you're looking at eBay listings, if you don't have the disc in hand, it's impossible to find those details. And here's the part that'll probably make you happy, is that you can actually find these really cheap still right now. I don't know if most people just don't know about it or if most people just don't care about it, but either way, this is awesome. Right now while editing, I actually found a first print listed for $10. It's not in the title, it's not in the description, I just looked at the back photo and found the first print UPC. Even factory sealed copies often only sell for around $100, which indicates to me that this game had a lot more copies that were actually sold rather than sent back to Sony to be destroyed. So go check your own copy of Little Big Planet, make sure it's a first print because you can afford to obsess over this one. And if you guys are enjoying the video, please do hit the like button. It greatly helps out the reach. And let me know if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. Which does bring us to our last variant of the day, and don't worry, I did save the dumbest one for last. This is going to be a print error variant on The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for Nintendo Switch that sealed collectors have paid as high as $2,500 for. So this is what the cover art on North American Link's Awakening looks like. Honestly, it's a pretty nice design overall. I like it. And now I'm gonna put the print error variant up beside it. Are you ready? Bang! There's the error copy. And I'm gonna give you a second to identify it now. It's right there. Surely you've seen it by now, right? The error is right there in your face. Don't tell me you can't find it. The big error variant that people are going crazy for, that PSA has only ever graded 12 copies of, is right here. This little red squiggle in the cloud up in the top corner, which has literally been dubbed the red squiggle error. Now, normally this kind of print error wouldn't actually count as a variant because most of the time this is a one-off occurrence. Some issue in production where some print error happens, but you can only find it on a single copy of the game. But since PSA has already graded 12 of them, it's very likely that there was an entire batch of this game that was printed with the error, which makes it an actual variant that you can seek after and collect. And perhaps surprisingly, this error is actually more on the rare side. You absolutely should go check your copy of the game if you own one, but odds are you probably don't have the error. And in a world where most Nintendo Switch games have absolutely zero rarity and every copy is the exact same, this red squiggle error here is the exact thing that gives a little bit of chase, a little bit of more fun towards Nintendo Switch collecting. And I think that's why it has the price tag it does and why certain collectors gravitate towards it. It's something to differentiate, it's something to chase after on Nintendo Switch. But of all the variants I've talked about today, I'm super curious. Did you already know about all of them? Was there a little bit of new information in here? And if you want to see more videos like this, tell me about some variants that you'd like to see highlighted. Tell me about the most niche stuff you know about in the hobby. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.